You're listening to SM Media, the number one place for exclusive Scottish football content.
You have the heart of a giant, show it. You got the pride of a lion, roaring. Maybe you need big love, you don't need to give up. 'Cause something real is waiting there for you. You've been flying solo, now it's time to let go.
Hi folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the SM Media Scottish Women's Football Show. I'm Scott McPike. It's an absolute pleasure to be your host as always, and I'm delighted to welcome this week's special guest. It's a pleasure to welcome on to the show Lauren McCulloch. Lauren, thank you very much for coming on. It's a pleasure to have you.
No worries, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. How you been?
Yeah, not bad. How have you?
I'm very good, thanks. Yeah, it's obviously been a busy weekend in the women's game. Obviously, you're at Rossvale just now, sitting in third place in the championship. Promotion is obviously high on the list for you. How's the season been, and how are you feeling?
Yeah, we're feeling good. Obviously, we had a good result at the weekend there. So it puts us in good stead going forward for this week. It's been a good season overall, to be honest. A few blips here and there, but you can't win them all. But no, it's been a good season.
And obviously as well that the league is a very competitive league, as you'll agree. What's been the kind of main big results for you this season, and how you kind of found the competitive level?
Biggest results, probably beating Livy 3-1, in the sort of first couple of games of the season. That was obviously a massive win for us. And then the Renfrew result a couple of weeks ago, that was a tight game, but we managed to get the 3 points there. So they've probably been the two biggest results of the season so far.
And obviously, like, getting into the game as well, like, when did you first get the feeling that you wanted to play football, and what's been kind of highlights of your career so far?
Well, I've been interested in football, my whole life pretty much. My dad, my granddad really got me into it from a young age. I was playing with the primary school team and things. And then Glenford Thistle started up a girls' team, when I was probably 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I started off there, was there for a good 5 years or so. So that was brilliant. Got to play with the boys as well, which was a fantastic experience for me, just in terms of my development and things. And then I moved to Kilmarnock from there. Had a brilliant 5 years at Kilmarnock. I loved every minute. Managed to get to the first team there, and then I had to move away for uni. So obviously, commitment wise, with the travelling and stuff, there was from Edinburgh to Kilmarnock, it just wasn't possible. So I went to Giffnock for a bit and then COVID hit. Stayed another season after COVID, and then I moved to Rossvale sort of start of last year. So.
And how you found Rossvale, and who's been some of the influential players that have kind of took you under their wing?
So yeah, Rossvale's been brilliant. Since I first came in, I've loved every minute. We've got a lot of experienced players, captain Lynn Jackson, so Milky, she's our captain. I played with her at Kilmarnock as well, so I've known her for a long time. The new coaches that have come in, like Julie and the boys as well, they've been fantastic with every player. But yeah, we've got a real mix in the squad of experience and sort of younger players, and it is just a really good mix. And the experienced players do tend to help the younger players out, and just take them under your wing, as you said, and help us through some things we haven't been through before. So maybe going on a run of defeats, just getting us out of that, getting us out of our, we like to call it a funk, tend to get into a funk, getting us out of that and just getting us playing to enjoy ourselves again.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. We'll move into talking about the results. We'll touch on Rossvale's result later on. Obviously, I want to talk to you about your goal that you scored. It's always good for somebody on that scored at the weekend, because they always love it. But we'll touch on that in a wee second. Let's start in SWPL 1. It was obviously the final round of fixtures before the league split, and Partick Thistle were probably the winners of the weekend. They clinched sixth place with a 1-0 away win over the D United. Cara Henderson with a goal. Massive achievement for Partick Thistle to get in the top six.
Oh, it's fantastic for Partick. I know they kind of went through a wee spell recently where the results weren't sort of coming. Obviously Brian Graham came out and said they've been playing well, but just couldn't get the results. But for them to get top six, especially with still being a relatively new club to SWPL 1, it's a fantastic achievement for all the girls there. But yeah, it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely massive achievement for them. Obviously, the fixtures have been announced today, and we'll post a link to them in the description. It'll give you an idea. I'm not going to run through them because we'll be here all day. But Motherwell made it close. They were hot in the heels of Partick Thistle. They just missed out. A 3-1 away win over Aberdeen. Carla Boyce with a double, and Jardine made it 3. Motherwell obviously they'll feel a bit kind of frustrated. Obviously, they didn't clinch top 6, but they still are in the middle of a really good season to be in 7th place. And obviously best of the top 6, the bottom 6 that they'll take part in. They should take a lot of confidence for that.
Yeah, 100%. I think was at 1 point they missed out.
1 point, yeah.
Which is, ridiculously close. But I know Motherwell they've had a really good season. And I think if you'd have said to them at the start of the season they would have been challenging for top 6, they would have been more than happy with that. So yeah, I think that will just give them more motivation to kick on for next season and see where they can go.
Yeah, and obviously it means Motherwell will get into the bottom 6 again. The fixtures of that have been posted as well. Glasgow City continued their unbeaten run this season, an 11-0 win over Glasgow Women. 9 different goal scorers as well. Again, Glasgow City, the train just keeps on going.
Yeah, the quality throughout that squad, it's frightening. And I think if you'd have said at the start of the season who your favourites would have been, it probably wouldn't have been Glasgow City, just, with Rangers and Celtic coming through. But they've just shown that sort of resilience to keep going, and they're more than experienced at that level to perform week in, week out, and it just shows 11 goals and 9 different goal scorers. It's frightening.
Yeah, what's the kind of thoughts to that though? Obviously, they are still 6 points clear. Celtic and Rangers won as well. We'll touch on them in a minute, but Glasgow City, when you've got that lead, and they'll know better than anybody that they've had so much experience winning titles. When it goes into the league, and obviously they've still got 14 games, what's the kind of message to retain that title? What's the big thing they'll be thinking about?
I think they'll just be taking it a game at a time. They can't really think too far ahead because, as you say, a couple of results could flip that in a moment. A defeat to Celtic, a defeat to Rangers, and that 6 points is gone. So yeah, I think the message will just be keep doing what they're doing, and maybe they'll get there at the end of the season.
Celtic won 2-0 away to Hibs, goals from Gallagher and Hayes in the first half. Again with Celtic, they just keep on doing it as well.
Yeah, 100%. Celtic, they are a top side. 2-0 Hibs they were playing. I maybe would have wanted it to be a bit more comfortable, but shout out to Hibs for keeping it tight. But it's another win under Celtic's belt, so I don't think they'll be complaining too much.
And a big result for Rangers, a 6-0 home win over Hamilton. Lisa Martinez with a hat-trick, McLaughlin, Hay and Kavanagh with the goals. Things have not been rosy at Rangers over the past few weeks. Obviously, the defeat to Celtic a few weeks ago, I think it opened a fair bit of criticism coming Rangers' way. Whether it's fair or not, I don't know. I think it's more aimed at perhaps kind of the standing still thing. But again, that's probably something that is maybe a deeper problem at Rangers as a whole. But 6-0, I mean, it's a comfortable result, and Rangers they're still in the mix. We have to remember though, they've only lost 1 game this season, and they're still in the mix.
Oh yeah, 100%. They're not down and out by any stretch. 6-0 against Hamilton Accies, it's a fantastic result. And they'll just be glad to have sort of kicked on after the tough couple of weeks they've had, and get a sort of dominant display and get that number of goals in a game as well. So yeah, they're not down and out yet, and I'm sure that will be getting reiterated to them at the training ground and things.
Yeah, absolutely. Hearts won 2-0 at home to Spartans, goals from Hunter and an own goal. I've been so impressed with Hearts this season.
Oh, Hearts they've done outstanding this year. I think you can tell just the investment side of things is really helped them kick on, and the setup there is fantastic. Even the youth academy, you see them coming through, and yeah, they just seem to be getting better and better year on year. So it is an exciting time at Hearts.
What about the kind of the top of the table? I'm going to put everybody in the spot from now until the end of the season. Give us the 1, 2, 3 in the respective order. Glasgow City on 62 points, Celtic in 56, Rangers in 55. I'm going to put you in the spot.
I can't see past Glasgow City at the minute. Okay. To be honest, I can't see them, dropping that 6 point lead. So I'll go City to win the title. I think Celtic will be second, and Rangers will come third.
Brilliant. We'll move into SWPL 2. I think a very pivotal result at Gartcairn. Gartcairn 1, Montrose 4. London Pollard with a hat-trick and Lauren Gordon with a goal. Very impressive from Montrose. 9 points clear. Again, it's a really good position they're in now.
Yeah, Montrose obviously just came up last season from Championship North, but they've been absolutely brilliant this year. As you said, 9 points clear at top of SWPL 2. I think if you'd have said that to them at the start of the season, they would have bitten your hand off.
Yeah, they would have.
But no, it's an absolutely brilliant result for them, especially against Gartcairn, who are also up there. But yeah, no, it's a fantastic result.
I think it's a title winning performance, I've got to admit. I think when you go to the kind of nearest title rivals and win 4-1, and London Pollard gets a hat trick, I think London Pollard's a terrific player. She was really good at Motherwell last season, came into Montrose as well. And it just is that performance. I think it just solidifies their place. I think they are going to win the title from here. And they got a wee bit of help as well, obviously, because Kilmarnock could have went second if they'd beat Queen's Park. But Ellie Kane scored a last-minute winner for Queen's Park, and it puts Queen's Park fourth in the table, above St Johnstone and goal difference. St Johnstone do have a game in hand, but it's a huge win for Queen's Park.
Oh, it's a fantastic result for Queen's Park. I think someone had said it was a carbon copy of a few weeks ago with a last-minute winner at Kelly. But 3 points on the board puts them right back up into fourth, and that league is so tight as well because I think were they seventh to begin the day or something like that, and they've just rocketed their way up the table. So yeah, it's very, very tight there.
So I think it's going to be very interesting because Gartcairn now are sitting on 33 points from 19 games, and Boroughmuir sitting sixth on 26 points from 18 games. There is realistically only, if you think about it this way, there's potentially only 6 points between second and sixth if everybody's played their games. It's so tight.
Yeah, every year it's a competitive league, and I think it just gets more and more competitive year on year. But to see that 6 point gap between second and sixth, like that's crazy. Like that takes a couple of games, and that completely flips, or it could completely flip depending on the results. So yeah, it is a fantastic league.
And it could potentially have big implications for promotion this season. Let's move into the last game. St Johnstone and Boroughmuir was called off due to the snow. It was surprisingly one of only 3 games that didn't survive the snow. I thought there'd be a lot more than that because conditions were horrendous. But Stirling Uni drew 2-2 with East Fife at home. Jackman and Vernava put Stirling 2 up before Ballock, and Skivington equalised for East Fife. And again, East Fife, they've maybe not had it their way this season. They're yet to pick up a win, but to go be 2-0 down against your kind of fellow team at the bottom of the table shows tremendous grit to bring it back to 2-2 and get a point.
Yeah, 100%. It takes character, to come back from being in that position. East Fife, as you said, they have struggled this year, but they've made a good couple of signings, recently, and you can kind of see that in their results and their performances they have picked up. So I don't think it'll be too long before they pick up their first one of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hopefully going to be sometime soon because I think they're deserving of it. Championship, let's start at Rossvale, a 3-0 home win over Dryburgh Athletic. And you scored a penalty, Strike scored, and that famous trialist was on the score sheet again. Must be happy to get a goal, but overall good team performance.
Yeah, it is good to get a goal. I mean, it was very close not to be a goal, but we won't talk about that. But no, it was a fantastic team performance. I think it's probably up there with the best team performance we've had all season. It just seemed to click, which was really good, especially in the second half when we managed to get the 2-goal lead. Because Dryburgh are a tough side. They might feel hard done by where they are in the table, just in terms of the start of the season and things, but we know what we were up against, and to get the 3-0 win was fantastic.
Yeah, Dryburgh's a lot of games as well where they were kind of losing just by the odd goal, and you just wonder kind of if things had went their way, they could have been in a better position, because I think they've a lot of the time they've been unlucky just not to get points when do you know what I mean? I think they're a really underrated side actually.
Yeah, no, 100%. They did go through a spell, as you said, where it was 1-goal margins, and you're thinking, are they ever going to pick up a win? But they did eventually against Hutchie Vale, and more than deserving of it, because as I said, they are a good side, and yeah, they will feel a bit hard done by where they are in the table in terms of their performances that they've put in this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Livingston, big performance for them, a 5-1 away victory over Ayr, who were getting into this in a really good run, and I think a lot of people thought if Ayr could have a chance at maybe beating Livingston, but an impressive performance. A double from Mackay, goals from Elizabeth, Murphy and Mulligan. And Livingston, again, they're in a really good position, and that's a huge 5-1 victory against a good informed side.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Arif come into the new year and yeah, they've been flying, to be fair to them. We played them a few weeks ago and you could see the improvements they've made. But Livingston, when you get Livingston on their day, they are a top side. And I think I seen on the match report as well that it was up there with the best performance they've had all season. So when you get them on a day like that, you know, they can be ruthless, as you've seen a few weeks ago against Renfrew as well. They can just score goals.
Well, obviously, like yourselves and Renfrew and Livingston are obviously looking at promotion. Like, do you see like the likes of Livingston? They're obviously doing so well here. How do you think they would kind of like next season? How do you think that would translate to next season in the SWPL too if you were both to get in?
You know, I think we would be competing. 100%, we would be competing. I think along with getting promoted to SWPL two, you attract new players, which could strengthen both squads. So I've got no doubt in my mind that we would be competing in the league above, both us, Livingston and Renfrew, whoever was to go up, because our league is very, very competitive as an SWPL two, and I think the standard in teams, I don't think it's too different. But yeah, it would be interesting to see where we would end up.
Renfrew 1-1 away to Inverness as well. Obviously, you've got a game in hand in Renfrew, but McLeod and Telford with the goals, and again Renfrew, probably similar to yourselves, are just looking to get as many wins on the board as possible, and it's going to be a right good end to the season between yourselves and Renfrew. Yeah,
100%. It'll be a battle right to the very end, between us both. But you know, it was another good result for Renfrew the weekend. Going up to Inverness, you know, it's tough. It's a tough place to go, especially the 12:30 kickoff. But you know, it is a good result and a good 3 points for Renfrew.
Yeah, final result, Morton 1-3-2 away to Hutchie Vale. Big result for Morton. It takes them within 3 points of Hutchie Vale, and they have 2 games in hand. And obviously with Morton, Hutchie Vale, Drybra, they're just looking to get wins on the board and hopefully beat the drop.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm not actually too sure. I don't think there is a relegation.
I don't think there is either, actually. Now I think there is.
Because I think they're expanding the league, but yeah, as you said, they'll just be looking to pick up points, as many points as they can, just to not finish at the foot of the table. You know, I don't think there's much between the three sides. If I'm honest, as I said, there's the league's very, very competitive. Every team competes week in, week out. There's never really any walkovers in the league. So yeah, it is. It's just about getting points on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll move into League One. The 2 games that were called off, West Dyke and Grampian Ladies was called off, and FC Edinburgh versus Glenaffer Thistle. But one of the games of the weekend, I think, in Scottish football as a whole, was at St Mirren against Falkirk. St Mirren were 3-0 up at half-time, and doubles from Eva Rule and Suzanne Wyatt secured Falkirk a 4-3 victory away from home, and they go second in the league. What a massive... You'd get your money's worth if you went to that game.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, what a game. I seen the notification were coming through on my Twitter with the St Mirren being 3-0 up at half time, and I was like, well, that looks like they've got the 3 points there. And then Falkirk just come out all guns blazing in the second half, and before you know it, it's 4-3. But you know, with Falkirk's results this season, I mean, Suzanne Wyatt, she's been scoring goals for fun, really, and has really sort of dug them out a few times. St Mirren have been on a brilliant run. You know, I think they went from being in the bottom half of the table to, you know, sitting 4th, 5th. So they've done really, really well this year. But yeah, it's a very, very good result for Falkirk, especially after being 3-0 down.
Yeah, huge 3 points for Falkirk. Obviously puts West Dyke have still got a game in hand. Stenhousemuir aren't out at the running either. They won 2-0 away to BSC Glasgow. Goals from Rachel Vickerman and Jennifer Campbell for them. And Stenhousemuir, obviously a big weekend with West Dyke not playing. It puts them within 4 points of West Dyke, and it's just they'll be looking again, just like a lot of other teams, just to try and get wins on the board. I think big games will come when the likes of, like, obviously we see with Falkirk and St Mirren, they are really tight games, but Stenhousemuir will be another team just wanting to, when they come up against the teams they're challenging, just to try and get in the winning side. Yeah,
100%. I mean, we drew Stenhousemuir in the cup just before the turn of the year there, and you know, we've seen ourselves, they are a good side, you know, tough to break down, and you can see where they are sort of league positioning. They aren't out of the running yet, and they'll know that, and they'll keep going until the very end.
Yep. Edinburgh Cali won 7-0 away to Giffnock as well. Margot Durand Watson with a hat-trick and 4 other goal scorers as well. And Edinburgh Cali have been on a really good run, and I think it's a good example as well that we're kind of looking at the FC Edinburgh, I think, will win the title. Falkirk, Westhite, Stenhouse, Mooney, St Mirren are kind of fourth, like second to fifth. They'll probably be kind of playing for promotion. And Edinburgh Cali will be looking to finish best of the rest.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that can be their aim, and I think again, if you'd have said that to them at the start of the season, they would have been happy with that. Just in terms of the quality teams that are in that league, you know, your Edinburgh Cities, Westhike, St Mirren, etc. Yeah, but another really good win for them at the weekend against a good Giffnock side.
Yep, absolutely. And Airdrie Ladies won 3-2 away to Dundee, home to Dundee West. Kerry Graham a double, and last week's guest Megan Murray was on the score sheet as well. And again, just a big win. But again, Airdrie just will be looking to try and get as close up the league as possible. And Airdrie have been in a really good run, actually.
Yeah, I think that's the aim for, you know, the majority of teams, is just to get as many points on the board as possible and trying to pick up results just to get a bit of momentum, because I think you pick up a bit of momentum in any of the leagues, you know, you can go firing up the table just with how close it is. But yeah, no, Airdrie have been on a good run and they'll be looking to continue that this week.
Some big games to talk about for Rossvale, probably none bigger than the game this Sunday away to Renfrew. That's going to be a massive game for both sides.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it always is. It's always a really good game between the two sides. But yeah, we go into confident, and yeah, hopefully we can pick up the 3 points.
Yeah, again, and then after that, away to Livingston.
Yeah, and I don't think you can get a much tougher run of fixtures, to be honest. I think we're Ayr at home after that as well. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, you've got to play the best in order to be the best. So yeah, we've just got to go in with confidence and play the way we can. We know that if we play the way we can pick up results. We've shown it earlier in the season, but yeah, we're under no illusions how tough it will be. But you know, we just have to back ourselves.
yeah, absolutely. And we're wishing you all the best for the season ahead, Lauren. It's been an absolute pleasure to be on the show. Thank you very much for coming on.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me.
Brilliant, pleasure. And thank you very much for having tuned in. Please follow us on social media for consistent women's football coverage. And as always, subscribe to our YouTube and podcast channels. And we'll be back next week with a new show. Thanks very much, folks. We'll see you soon. Cheers.